New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City, Democrats swept all three. And so the question everyone will be asking is, what does this all really mean? Now, over the next few days, you're going to hear a lot of spin. Pundits saying that this is pushback on Trump, that America has spoken, and the voters, they regret their decision. But once you cancel out all the noise, you're left with one simple truth. Blue states doing what blue states do. States that Kamala Harris won back in 2024 showed up angry and ready to stick it to Trump in 2025. So this wasn't some national political shift. This was expected, predictable even. The media will try and frame it as a rebuke of Trump or the GOP, but when you look at the map, nothing fundamental changed. And so we're breaking it all down, showing you how each side is presenting their case and what it means for the people caught in the middle.
The story for tonight is actually that the Socialist Party is taking over the Democrat Party. And you know what? It was Andrew Cuomo. It was Kathy Hochul. It were the Democrats that were so afraid of their shadows, so afraid of the radical left. People like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez kept moving to satisfy them. And now they've been eaten alive. So this is a lesson for the Democrat Party. They should have fought for their party. They never fought for their party. They catered to the radical left. And now we're going to see, by the way, for people who think that they're voting for affordability here with Mamdani, a guy who believes in socialism, we're going to learn the hard way in New York City what socialism is. Your taxes will go up. And if you pay property taxes, you won't be able to afford to live in your home. And if you guess what, you rent, it's going to be passed on to you in the form of your rent. Yeah. Mandates, fees, regulations, surcharges. We've seen it in this state, in this city, under one-party rule for the last decade. It costs money. It gets passed on to you. So if you think you're going to get a free ride with Mamdani, you're going to learn the hard way.
That's why the answer to it, 51% of the people in Virginia just said they want someone to be their attorney general, the top law enforcement official, who said he wanted the Speaker of the House in Virginia to be murdered and Republican children to be murdered. Let that sink in about just how dark of a landscape that paints.
Well, I wonder how Mamdani would have done against better opposition.
Well, that's a good point.
I mean, let's be honest. Cuomo, it can now be said, you know, even though Trump was for him or whatever, this guy's terrible. He was terrible. He was terrible at the end of his term.
Well, this is just a pause. Trump said
awful.
that before. And he said it about Trump.
And,
which is part of what makes people cynical.
And he didn't do, you know, he needed some Republican votes. Sliwa did burn off a few of those, but he didn't do anything to talk to Republicans. He got Trump at the last, but Mamdani got to run against him twice.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know, I wonder how he would have done against more legitimate opposition. On the part about the young voters, I agree with you. I wouldn't write off their concerns. I just would ask, what's Mamdani going to do for him? He's fixing to run a bunch of businesses out of this city. People who create jobs are going to be run out of the city. The kinds of jobs that they might need or they might want, those business people are probably going to go elsewhere now if he implements some of the programming that he has talked about, and things will get even more bleak. Things do not get better under socialism. They do not.
But I think it's going to be very difficult from a messaging standpoint. All of the energy is behind Zohran Mamdani. And what I remember something that George Will said, every 20 years or so, people need a controlled experiment in socialism to remind them of why they need adults in charge. And unfortunately, for the city that is not of my birth, but is certainly the one that I adopted and that I love this place, I do hope for the best. I wish him the best and hope that he can love it as much as we do.
But Harold, listen, New York City was going to get what they deserve, whether they elected Mamdani or not. When the choice was between the shamed governor who lied to New Yorkers during COVID and the Democrat socialist who's promising everybody freebies, is there really a choice? Because the truth is, they've already ran off nearly every Republican voice in the city. It's one of the most liberal places in America, and the problems just keep getting worse. Listen, the only thing elected Mamdani did was give them a chance to double down on everything they already believed in. And if this is the direction that Democrats want to go nationally, then that's fine. Republicans, they do have work to do, but nonetheless, what works in New York City doesn't work in other parts of the country. Now, Democrats are feeling good right now because they needed a win badly. If they would have lost even one of these races, it would have been a major blow. And so they pulled out all the stops. I mean, just think about it. They shut down the government. They staged a No Kings protest, and they were running their entire campaigns against Trump, who wasn't even on the ballot. But this isn't going to stop people like AOC from feeling like Democrats are back in the driver's seat. Take a listen.
So many people who participated and were brought together by his campaign
because they were not just tasked with defeating a Republican. They were also tasked with defeating the old guard of the Democratic Party that essentially led us to many of the perils of this moment. So he had a two-front war to win, which is what makes his victory so deeply impressive. And I do think that this moment, a lot of people who are willing to talk about party unity when it serves them, but not party unity when it serves everybody, it puts those folks on notice. And I think it also puts folks on notice that we have a future to plan for. We have a future to fight for. And we're either going to do that together or you're going to be left behind. And I think that is not a partisan issue. It's not about progressive. It's not moderate. It's not liberal. This is about, do you understand the assignment of fighting fascism right now? And the assignment is to come together across difference no matter what.
AOC's feeling herself right now, and for good reason. When you think about what the far left wing of the Democrat Party has been able to do with getting Democrat leaders, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, to keep this government shutdown going this long through the elections. Now she got her guy Zohran Mamdani. He just was elected mayor of New York freaking City as an open Democratic Socialist. And even out in California, Gavin Newsom was able to get voters to vote yes to Prop 50, which will inevitably allow them to redistrict and gain more seats. And so basically, why shouldn't she feel confident? She's speaking to the old guard. She's speaking to Chuck Schumer. She's speaking to Hakeem Jeffries. If you don't want to get on board, then you're going to get left behind, because this is the direction that we're now going. And it's happening because the far left wing of their party has been able to energize their base. Not Hakeem Jeffries, not Chuck Schumer, but really this is all perspective. New Jersey and New York remain blue, something that it was already. And Virginia, a state that voted for Kamala Harris and Trump wasn't able to win in 2024, they voted for a Democrat governor.
I disagree with all of you.
And you don't even know what we said.
Yeah, I've been watching Cuomo, and unlike you, I can absorb information. This has nothing to do with the midterms, zero. And the reason is so many things are going to happen between now and this time next year. And it's going to be a completely different country than it is now. Now, I can't predict which way that's going to go.
Then how do you know it's going to be a completely different country?
Because there are so many things that have to be decided. There are too many undecideds. And you can start with the Supreme Court ruling on the tariffs. You can start on that. And they'll rule in Donald Trump's favor because of the 1974 law that Gerald Ford signed into. And they have to. The Supreme Court can't change the law. It has to uphold what's already been in precedent. Now, they'll rein Trump in a little bit, but that will give Trump then a free field to see if in the next 8 months the tariffs can kick in to bring prices down and to help people. That's what the midterms are all about. It's about economics here. It's not about China. It's not even about Putin. It's about that.
If Democrats take these results and run with it, leaning even further left, deeper into the ideological corners of their party, then fine. They'll just have to learn the hard way, because what we'll see next is just a repeat of 2024. New York City isn't Pennsylvania or Ohio or Michigan or any of these swing states that actually decide elections. So if Democrats want to double down on the AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's, the Gavin Newsoms of the world, if that's who they want leading the face of their party, we'll see how that plays out. But I don't think it'll end the way they imagine. Now, speaking of that overconfidence, let's jump into Hakeem Jeffries on CNN. Take a listen.
If he does some of the things he talks about, is that going to make it harder for you to win congressional seats?
So no, we are going to win control of the House of Representatives. I've said that from the beginning. And if you actually want to assess the landscape, despite all the premature obituaries that were written about Democrats a year ago from today, and there were lessons to be learned, but what we're seeing is that the Latino community moving decisively in our direction. Working class Americans moving decisively in our direction.
Is it enough to just run against Trump to win the House?
Do you think that Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill just ran against Trump?
I didn't say that. I asked if
Of course not. So what we've said is that we're going to lean in to the issues that matter. And as House Democrats, we've been very clear. Lower the high cost of living, fix our broken healthcare system, clean up corruption, and that the American people deserve better than what they're getting from the extremism that has been unleashed on the American people. And in this country, you work hard, you play by the rules, you should be able to live the good life. So,
okay, the thing that Hakeem Jeffries is ignoring by handing more power to the far left wing of his party is that he's basically signing his own political termination slip. The same way that AOC will eventually push Chuck Schumer out, they'll come for him too. Because here's the truth. To them, Jeffries isn't radical enough. He's too cautious, too establishment, and too tied to the system they're trying to burn down. Democrats like Jeffries are so Trump obsessed, so blinded by the idea of trying to defeat him, that they're willing to empower the same radicals that will eventually destroy their own leadership from within. They see the attention, the protests, the social media noise, and they mistake it for momentum. New York City, they said they wanted Mamdani, so let them have Mamdani. Let him do what he wants to do to that city. And then it will be an example. Because this is just another bad sequel. Another blue city that puts one of these far left radicals in charge, and it leads to nothing but chaos, crime, and a city collapsing. And you know what? You got to be fine with that, because every time it happens, it gives America a clear example of what Democrats stand for and what their ideology actually produces. They pulled every stunt to survive, from fear-mongering to government shutdown theatrics, because their party was on life support. But everything is perspective, right? And so these were blue states. And really, with everything going on with the shutdown, it's going to have an effect on all those Northern Virginian voters who are coming out. And so ultimately, in my opinion, Democrats did what Democrats were supposed to do. And so, no, I don't think Republicans should be in panic mode, but it's no time to also sit back like everything is just business as usual and get comfortable. This is a time to keep focusing on what actually matters. Cutting spending, protecting the border, restoring law and order, and continuing to put Americans first. Because if Republicans do what they should, deport illegal migrants, reduce waste, fix the economy, sure, some people will get mad, but that's just politics. Every major course correction brings outrage before it brings results. And so let the progressives celebrate tonight. Let them think that socialism is the future. Let them make Mamdani, AOC, Crockett the face of their party. Ultimately, sometimes you just got to let people get exactly what they want, exactly what they voted for. So that way it's an example for the rest of the country of what not to do. But those are my thoughts. Now share yours. As always, the best way you can show your support and that you enjoyed the content is by smashing that like button. That tells me you enjoyed the video. And subscribe for more breakdowns just like this. And as always, until next time.